Hey guys, well, it's going to be my first workout for this video series. Today I'm going to be training back. I do a fair bit of volume for back. I like to go from a pull down movement to a row movement. I might do some deadlifts at the end, some rack deadlifts or hyperextensions, it really depends. But I don't start my back workouts, never have, with heavy deadlifts. I know some people probably frown upon that, but I just don't. I'd rather do so much volume on all of my pull down and rowing movements, and then at the end I'll finish with a rack dead. Look, for me, the reason being is I don't really like doing heavy compound movements at the start. I'm not trying to thicken my waist. I don't want to, be on stage and be one of those bodybuilders that has wide obliques. I think you'd be kidding yourself if you think that putting that much strain with heavy weights, doing deads, doing squats, isn't going to do something, to your midsection, to your obliques, or stabilizing muscles when you're lifting real heavy weights. So I'm trying to minimize, that as much as I can. So I'm not going to show you every single warm-up set here. Even now, before I start the workout, I'm going to do a little bit of rotator cuff work. I'm going to warm up my upper body pretty much. I'll do side raises, front raises, rear downs, warm up the shoulders, do some just all light dumbbell work just to get a little bit of a sweat going, a little bit of blood pumping, and then I'll start my first movement. So the first exercise that I do for back, it's a rope pull down, or pull over I should say. Now there's so many different variations of this movement, and I do change it up sometimes, but what I've found I like to do best is to put a rope on the high cable. And when I perform it, I don't stand up and stretch my arms forward. Sometimes people do that. I try to treat this like that old Dorian Yates pullover machine. So I stay kind of close to the bar, and all I do is once I'm in a stretch position, I pull from my elbows and under my armpits, and that way I can roll back and squeeze. So from the start, it's all upper lats, and then on the way down, I try to roll back and really squeeze my lats like that. Every rep, stretch, squeeze. This is just lightweight, just warm up. Once I get into that stretch position, I think about it. All right, all I want to do now is pull with my elbows and just feel it start the movement from under my armpits. So it's all lats. It's just one big smooth contraction all the way through. I stretch in between each of these sets as well, really try to open up my lats, and that's about as basic as it gets. All right, well, my warm-ups are done, and now I'm this is gonna be my second working set. So one of the biggest things with performing, any movement really, is not to be using momentum and just throwing the weight down without getting a good contraction or squeeze. So that's why I try to come up nice and easy, not super slow, but slow enough so that I can still feel the muscles under tension. And then once I get to that point where it's stretched, I just pause for half a second, so that way I know that there's no momentum there. It's just using the power from my lats. Once I've performed as many of those good reps as I possibly can, then I'll just use a little bit of momentum at the end just to pump a little bit more blood in there. But I definitely don't start like I did at the end from the very beginning. Most important thing is just stretching, feeling the movement the whole time. I can't tell you how many people just go to the workout just going through the motions, using momentum, and they're not actually isolating and using the muscle that they're trying to work. You'll get so much more out of training in a way if you just think about what you're doing. That whole mind-muscle connection thing that everybody says, that is a thing. So if you can actually think about what you're doing, not trying to bring all these other muscle groups into it. Today is back day for me. All I want to do is use my back. This is probably one of the most underrated exercises. I used to be able to do so many of these just free weight pull-ups, body weight pull-ups. I'm trying to work my way back up to that, because ever since I've even been doing this with the band as support, I've noticed that my lats are changing. So I've put them back into all of my workouts. A second movement now after doing something to stretch. So after the rope, straight to a chin up at the moment. Normally I go from the green band to the purple band and then do my body weight, but that ain't gonna fucking happen today. So, all right, so my next movement is some kind of row. So I go from usually a pull down to a row, back and forth, and I'll just keep going. I don't really work out how many sets or how many exercises I'm going to do. I just go by how I feel. So this particular one, I'm doing a T-bar row. Now, so many different ways that you guys can do this, whether you want to stay down low or you want to come up high, do a little bit more lower lats. I just find something in the middle that kind of feels pretty good. And as far as grip goes, I change it. Sometimes I'll be here, sometimes I'll be there. Today I'm going to go on these outer handles here. Stretch and squeeze. This is just a warm-up set. So, but same thing, just because it's a row doesn't mean that you have to start heaving the weight up with terrible form. I still get a good stretch, a good squeeze, try to get like that little pause at the bottom as well. Don't try to really pause too much at the top with this because it is more of a kind of power movement, but that doesn't mean that it calls for you to just throw the weight around with really bad form. I don't just train light for the sake of it, because I try to train with the most weight I possibly can, using the form that I want to use and recruiting as much of the muscle that I'm trying to work. So when I do a row like this, even though it is more of a power type movement, I still try to stretch my lats at the bottom and really wrap my elbows around my... You guys are going to hear my dog Castor in all of my videos. He's very vocal. Everyone that walks past wants to bark at. But what I try to do is I try to wrap my elbows around so that my back contracts a lot more than it would if sometimes you get into the habit of just pulling, and all you do is pull with your biceps, you pull with your rear delts. So get the stretch, pause for half a second, and think about wrapping around your elbows, not just coming straight up and down. It's all good in theory. All right. Now, I don't really get too many forced reps on any of my rowing movements. Once I hit failure, that's usually about as far as I go. But if you do get your elbows around, this is why some exercises I don't wear lifting straps, and this is one of them, because my hand moves a fair bit, because I'm trying to really get that contraction. I don't want it to be super stiff, so that I'm using too much, bicep. And I'll probably do maybe 3 working sets on this. All right, so I'm gonna do a dumbbell row now. Now, no different from any of my other movements. I don't really want to try to heave the weight around just for the sake of weight. I still want to be able to feel the muscle working over the complete rep. Saying when I did the T-bar rows, I'm trying to really wrap my elbow around my waist so that I can just get the best possible contraction on my lat. Okay, moving right along now to the next exercise. Gonna do a wide pull down. So gonna lean back slightly on this one because everything else has been, a lot more upright and squeezing all the way down. This time I'm just gonna come down as far as I can, but I'm just gonna lean back slightly. Castor, he's telling me to go a little bit heavier, so I'll go a couple more plates. All right, so this will be a working set now. I'll just try to get as many good reps as I possibly can. So now I'll do just a couple more sets on the same weight. Not going to go any heavier than that. I'll probably do 2 more and that'll be enough of that. All right, next movement is something to do a little bit more upper back, a little bit more traps, rear delts, rhomboids, by going a little bit wider on a lat pull down bar and just bringing my elbows back as far as I can. So I find all the other movements don't really isolate or hit or target this area as well as this does. And once I'm here, I don't lean forward on every rep. I just get myself set, and then it's just my elbows that are coming up. Squeeze. It's actually, if you isolate it like that and stay there and just pull with your elbows, you should really be able to really feel it in your rhomboids and your traps, a little bit in your rear delts, but where I feel it the most is rhomboids and traps. All right, so now I'll do some kind of lower back movement, whether it's a rack deadlift or it's a hyperextension. I still try to squeeze, my whole back. Now, I used to start with this exercise or go a lot heavier on this, and I definitely found that over time my obliques and my waist looked as if it was getting thicker. I was kind of losing my taper. So I know that's up to debate for a lot of people, but for me, I definitely noticed that that's what was happening. So I don't rely on this movement for my back thickness. I'm doing it at the end of the workout now, just to really squeeze, whatever's left in my back. So I go as heavy as I can, which is probably pretty laughable for some guys because there's only like a plate either side, but let's give it a go. My back's already so fatigued from doing everything else, so that felt like I was able to get a really good squeeze. And I'll probably just do a couple more sets on that until I can't get maybe 6 reps, and then that's going to be the end of my back workout. All right, guys, well, that is a wrap for today's back workout. So fair few exercises today, a lot of volume. Lee Priest always drove that into my head when we were training together, was just heaps and heaps of volume. I find that my body responds well to that. And my body responds well to doing just the basics real heavy too, but you have to, there is a risk reward benefit ratio that you kind of have to sum up in your head. Is it worth just going crazy heavy, balls to the wall every workout? Are you going to get injured? Can an injury ruin your career if you're wanting to be a professional bodybuilder? All these kinds of things. You can still achieve a really good workout and still grow, still keep getting better in the gym by doing a lot of volume, still lifting heavy, but not try to kill yourself in the gym. Anyway, that's it for this first training video for this new video series. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to the Massive Joe's YouTube channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Thank you for tuning in to this video. We hope you enjoyed watching. Don't forget to check out our latest upload and our recommended video, and be sure to subscribe to the Massive Joe's YouTube channel to stay up to date with all of our latest uploads.